I love the view up here. What's this? Shit, not again.
Okay, now that we've got that electrical safety public service announcement out of the way, don't do what I'm going to do in this video if you do not have an isolation transformer, because I'm going to be working with live line connected AC power, and it needs to be isolated if you're going to do what I'm doing. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself a nasty shock. Let's check it out. Well, hi. Time to put the Christmas decorations away, and this one here has stopped working. What we have here is a string of LED lights. There are probably 60 or 70 of them, and well, one of them's probably gone open. Now, half the string has got a little bit of light, and the other half the string is completely dead. These LEDs can be removed, although it's a pain in the butt to do it. But you can take them out and test them all individually. And it's done by lifting up the little clip there and just popping out the bulb. And don't be like me with a screwdriver and stab yourself. Just give it a little twist and the LED will pop out. Now, it could be an LED that's gone open, or it could be a bad socket that's gone bad, a broken wire. I'm testing the individual bulbs. I'm just using a 3-volt DC power supply, and I'm not worrying about current limiting on this because set to 3 volts, it will not burn the LED out. And I just put the positive on one side and the negative on the other, and as you can see, it lights. That one's good. And the process is just going to be the same, taking each individual bulb out and testing it to see whether it's failed or not. Now, if it does turn out to be a connection, it might just start working when I go to unplug the one that's bad. But this is a process that's going to take me a while to go through all these stupid lights, figure out which one is causing the problem. But then when you get these decorations, they are some of these are quite expensive to buy. So when you get one season out of it, you don't like to have to just throw it away and buy another one. Now, this one, a couple seasons have been gotten out of this one. You can sell it's got some rust and stuff on it. This one's been used for the last 3 years. But still, you expect to get more than 3 years of use out of these LED decorations. They say the LEDs are supposed to last 100,000 hours. And I call horse crap on that because I've never seen any last more than a couple of years. I've got a bunch of them in my house that when I bought them, they were extremely expensive. And half of them I burned out. And my own protest to the whole holiday season is to not replace them, just to leave them half burned out. So that when people question and say, how come there's a 20-foot section of lights that are out? Well, that's because the LEDs that were supposed to last me 20 years didn't. They lasted me 1 year. One thing you do have to keep in mind is that LEDs are polarity sensitive. And there's a positive and a negative side. That's why they have a tab on here. One is to lock it in, but two, so you only get them oriented the right way when you plug them in. Also, one contact is further down than the other. So the positive is this side. On this string, this is the positive side. And I put my 3 volts on there and it lights up. And what I'm doing is I'm just going around one at a time. I'm not putting the lock tab back down initially. I'm just plugging them back in. And I'll do the lock tabs after. The reason I'm leaving the lock tabs open right now is so I know which ones I've tested, so I don't end up testing the same one again. It's going to take me a while to get through all of these LEDs, and hopefully it's just one that's bad, and I can swap it out for a new one, or eliminate it completely by just putting a short wire between the two. You won't notice one LED out if I can make the rest of the string work. But it's time consuming, but very well could be worthwhile doing, just because it's cheaper than buying a new decoration, and it's certainly cheaper than buying a new set of lights and cutting them all out and wiring the new ones in, which would be a lot of work. This is a lot of work to do this for what this is worth, but we'll try to save this one. And I'll cut the video now, and when I find the one that's bad, I'll show you which one it is and how I come up with a solution. Another way, of course, to test for a bad LED, in this case, I've got some that are half dead or just flickering, so we may have a bad LED that's gone high resistance. We can take a screwdriver and just stick it into the socket, and the other ones will light. I don't know if you can see it or not, but Now, I'm on an isolation transformer. Don't do this unless you're using an isolation transformer, because the screwdriver itself could have, well, mains voltage. I can touch this. It's not going to hurt me because I'm on an isolation transformer. But when I do that, if you look at some of these other lights that are currently out, I got one string this has got two strings on it. One is completely dead. The other one, they're just flickering. So if I do that, it will light the ones up that are flickering. Oh, this is not one of the ones that's flickering. Where are the ones? Yeah, there they are. See? I don't know if you can see it on camera or not, but these ones are very, very dim. And when I take out the screwdriver, they go out. So if I've got one LED that's gone bad, I can just quickly jam a screwdriver in there, and if the rest of them light up bright, same with if I've got one that's open. If the other ones light up, then I know that I found the one that's bad. Or I can pull them out and just do the 3 volts. Either way, if you're going to do it shorting with a screwdriver, be sure you're on an isolation transformer, or you'll get a nasty shock. Just warning you. Get to this one here. This one's on a string that I can see others on the string are glowing slightly, but this one's not. So let's just unplug this one. And I see that there's a little bit of corrosion here. What happens if I short this together? Will the other ones come on bright? Or are they still going to be dim? I don't see anything on them. Will this one light up when I apply power to it? Does this one light? This one does not light. This one's open. There's nothing on this. My power supply is working, and there's no light from this one. This one is open. Interesting. I wonder if this socket's also got a problem. Let's take a closer look at the socket here, because I see some green, like maybe water's gotten into this one. Oh yeah, there's corrosion down in there. I can see that. I bet you the socket's bad. We'll just try scraping this socket up a bit and see whether I get any lights. Now remember, I'm still energized here, but I'm on an isolation transformer, so I'm not going to get a shock. But if I short these pins together, I should get light out of the other ones. And now they've all gone out. When I pulled that one out that was dead, all the rest of the ones went out. There's another one I found that this one just barely lights when I put 3 volts across it, positive to here. This should light up really bright, but it's really quite dim. So this one also may be causing a fault, causing high resistance, and making the rest of the lights all appear to be very dim. As I found one that's open, I've already put a bridge in place of that, but I'm finding others that are also in high resistance and not producing much light when provided with 3 volts. I found one socket that just pulled right off. I think this is probably where we're going to find the fault is. I got a couple of LEDs were bad, that weren't putting out any light, but here's one socket that it's actually pulled right out of the wires, like the crimp has let go. And this is probably where the fault is going to be, is one or more sockets, just from water getting into them over the years. You know, the last couple of years, it's let the sockets gone bad. So this is likely where the fault is going to be on this. I'm going to put this one together, solder it together, and see whether I get any continuity, get any more LEDs working on here. Bypassing one is not going to really affect the life expectancy of the rest. It's going to, well, add 3 volts across the entire string, which really isn't going to have much detrimental effect on something like this. But we'll see whether I can get this thing working. I might be just further off. If I start finding more sockets that are failed like this, I think what I'll end up doing is just buying a string of LEDs, cut these out, and just throw some others in. It might be further ahead just to go down that road rather than try to repair wires that are falling apart. And I think that's the biggest problem with these stupid Christmas lights, these stupid LED Christmas lights, is that the wiring is so poor when they put these together at the factory that they just fall apart. You know, after a couple of years, they corrode and break, and that's the biggest problem. Besides the fact that some of the LEDs go bad, which I got a couple here that don't light. Put 3 volts across them, and they don't light up at all. Like this one here, for example. I got 2 of them here that will not light when I put 3 volts across it. Or light, that one lights very, very dim. This one here, for example, doesn't light at all, right? So I've got some LEDs that don't put out any light whatsoever, and yes, I am connected to the correct polarity. I can reverse it just to show you guys that my polarity is correct. And I got another one here that's dim, whatever I did with it. I think it's this one here. This one here is dim. Like, this should be really bright, but you see how dim that is. I mean, this thing should be as bright as anything, but you see it's dim. So I've got more than one LED that's failed on here, and now I'm having sockets that are falling apart. Now when I say dim, I expect to see them looking more like this. Okay, put my positive on the positive terminal and my negative on the negative terminal, and that's what I expect to see. You saw how dim that other one was. So we got a combination of problems on this, and I think I might be further ahead just to go pick up some discounted strings now that Christmas is over, and just find a couple of strings of white and just rip these out and start over, because finding one problem after another, it makes it more work than it's worth to try to fix it. I could just buy a couple strings and just throw them in and be done. Here's another light. It's got water's got into it. The pin is corroded right off. I'll try and I've got one that came out of that one with the bad socket, which is this one here. You can see how that pin's looked in the socket there, because it's still, I plugged this one in. I know this one works, and this one still doesn't work. So we've got multiple. See if I put my power supply on this one here, this light works. Right, so that one works. I plug it into this socket here. There's others that are also bad on here. I just keep finding one after another that's bad. So I'll just keep plugging away and see if I can find the elusive one that's causing the problem. But it's likely a socket problem. That one's good. Or we could have still have a socket problem. The other ones, the wires just fell right out as soon as I touched it. Here's another one. See, I think there's some corrosion on this one as well. I wonder if you can buy these. I mean, I could just go buy some white LEDs and put them in here. There's nothing special. They're easy enough to replace the LEDs. They'll be a different type of LED, but white LEDs could go in here no problem. They're simple to replace the actual LEDs themselves once you identify all the ones that are bad. But still got to fix the sockets that are failing. This one here, again, we got another one here that you can see it's corroded. So this is what I'm up against. That's why people get frustrated with Christmas lights. They wire them all in series, kind of like a modern TV. And see this one here, look how dim this one is. See, some of these are really dim. So they should be replaced. There's another one that it's corroded completely away. This socket here is probably also corroded up. Oh yeah, that's the one. I can see some light, but they're dim. But that's the one that was bad. You can see the lights are all on now. I don't know how they show up on camera, but these ones are all lighting up now. So that was the one that was bad. But there's another one, obviously, that is also bad. That one there is out. I bet you that one's bad. That one there is also bad. You can see it. It's out completely. This one's really dim. That one's out. You can see that one's out completely. Even though when I put power to it, it lit up. I think I put power to this one and it lit up. Why is it not lighting up now? I put power to that thing and that one lit up. Not very bright though, so that might be one of the reasons it's dim. We have a bunch of lights that are shoebarred on this. I'll put a jumper in place of this one and just see what happens. This LED that the lead is shot on actually has a current limiting resistor attached to it. That I did not expect, to find a resistor in series with all of them. but it's still shot. Hook up my power supply across here. Will it light? Yeah, it's dead. Well, it won't light because the lead is corroded right off. Okay, so this is the other one that was out, and as you can see, that's making them much better. This LED was out, and when I put the power across this one, does it light? I think it lights dim. It lights very, very dim. I wonder if this one won't have a resistor across it. I don't think. Let's just see. Oh, this is another one that's got a resistor across it. I wonder if the resistor is why it's dim. That might be why it's so dim. That's one to limit the current. And maybe that resistor is going bad. Let's just see if I bypass the resistor, whether I get full brightness out of it. Oh yeah, so it's just the resistor is limiting the current on this one. Let's try this other bad one that I took out. Oh look, that one works now. So I have another bad LED, so that's got one string working. I'm making progress. Slowly, but I'm making progress. Okay, I got half the string working. I had one socket that was shot. Over here the wires pulled right out. And I had two LEDs that were shot on this string. The others were fine. So that's one side working. I mean, I'm not going to leave this like this permanently, right? This is just a temporary fix to make it work. And then I will get some LEDs and replace the actual LEDs for the ones that I've bypassed. But at least this way we get the thing working so that I know how many LEDs I need. But I'm making progress. But that's how you go about and fix these things. It's time consuming, it's a pain in the ass, and you know, they should make these things better. They should make them waterproof, but they don't. So they sit out in the rain and the snow and whatever, and water gets into them and just corrodes away, and you know, you end up with sockets falling apart. Like, that's going to stay like that. One less won't hurt. I've heat shrinked it. So now I'm just going to do the same on the other side, see if I can find out which one's open, and we'll see if I can get the whole string working properly, and then at least I know what I got to get for it. Anyway, I think this has gone on. I don't need to show you guys anymore. That's the process. It's just a process of elimination, checking each LED individually to see whether it's any good, and you know, we can bypass a few of them and it's not going to hurt anything, at least not for testing. And then once I figure out what I need, I'll just get some white LEDs, stick some white LEDs in there, and we're good to go. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.